Hey, thank you for signing up to my free 16-minute follow-along footwork workout. Now this workout is going to be divided into 16 parts, and each minute you're going to have a specific footwork drill to work on. Now the first 15 minutes, the drills are going to be primarily technical drilling, and it's going to teach you how to get in and out of striking range quickly. It's going to help you become more evasive. It's going to teach you how to create angles, and it's going to also teach you how to create and close the distance. Now in the last minute, it's going to be a full-on burnout. So you're going to really feel your calves the next day. So let's go ahead and get started. The first footwork drill that we'll be working on for the first minute is going to be our ability to move forward. What we're going to do is try to stand in a more bladed stance as if we're fencing. The more bladed we are, the more it allows us to move in and out. So we want to be up on the balls of our feet. We don't want our heels to be straight up like this so that we're high on our tippy toes, but we want to be on the balls of our feet, but we want to be nice and low. So see how my heels are not touching the floor, but I'm still on the balls of my feet. So if I want to move forward, I'm simply going to push off my rear foot, step my lead foot forward, and drag. Step and drag. Step and drag. Step and drag. Now, of course, that's super easy. We want to have the ability to move forward fast. When we're moving forward, a common mistake is, as you move forward, you become more bladed, or as you move forward fast, you either become too narrow or you end up getting too wide. So the idea of this drill is we want to be able to move forward fast and keep the same exact stance. So here we are. Now, why would we need to use this type of footwork? Say we're trying to pressure forward. We want to be able to take control of the ring. We want to be in the center of the ring. So we gotta go quick. Get there first. Another example would be, say we rocked our opponent. We got them falling back against the ring. Now we gotta march forward and attack. For the first minute, we're just gonna work on moving forward. Again, start slow and then slowly work your way up to going fast. The timer's on for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on moving forward by pushing off our rear foot and stepping forward with our lead foot as we drag our rear foot forward. As you get more comfortable, try to go fast while maintaining the same stance. Imagine chasing down your opponent while trying to keep that same stance ready to strike.
Time. Let's take a little break. The next drill in the next minute, we're going to work on darting forward. So the footwork is the exact same thing. We're pushing up our rear foot, stepping forward with our lead foot. Except this time we're going to leap forward. We're going to dart forward. So instead of taking small baby steps and moving forward, we're going to explode forward. Again, look, I'm pushing on my rear foot, stepping in big. When would we do this? This is probably the most used footwork, especially if you're an outside fighter like me. Say we're on the outside. We can't just throw our 1-2 here, or if we were to move forward and then punch, our opponent has the ability to move back as we move forward. So if we were to just do this, he would move back. So instead, we're here on the outside, then we explode in with that jab cross. Again, we're here on the outside, our hands cannot touch. We explode forward with that jab cross. We can explode forward with the hook cross. Or we can explode in with that cross. So we're working on that leap, pushing off the balls of our rear foot, stepping far with our lead foot as we drag our rear foot back. So for the next minute, let's work on our ability to dart forward.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on exploding forward by pushing off our rear foot and taking one big step. Imagine surprising your opponent suddenly by leaping into striking range.
Time. Take a little break while you hear me break down the next drill. So we're going to use the same footwork to dart in, except we're going to dart to the right. So looking here, I'm in my stance. I'm going to dart right to the side and back in my stance. So again, if I'm facing the camera here, I'm going to dart to the right. So I'm going to push off my lead foot this time, step off to the right, and turn the corner. So this is as if I'm creating an angle. If I have my opponent directly in front of me, I'm going to dart to the side and face him from off the side. I'm going to push off my lead foot, step off to the right. Then from here, I'm going to drag that foot in front of me. So now I have an angle. So we want to imagine that our opponent is directly in front of us. We're going to step off to the side and throw that cross. Let's go ahead and put that timer on for 1 minute.
The timer's on for 1 minute. Let's push off our lead foot and take a big step 45 degrees to the right to create an angle, then turn to face our opponent. We can imagine striking from there.
Time. Let's take a quick break. The next drill, we're going to work on moving backwards. So looking here, I'm going to push off my lead foot, step my rear foot back as I drag my foot. Once we get to the other side of the room, we're going to repeat. Step and drag, step and drag. Now again, going slow is easy. We want to be able to move back fast. We want to move back fast without making our stance more narrow or more wide or becoming more bladed or more squared. We want to keep the same stance, exactly the same thing. Step back, step back, step back, step back. The ability to move back fast is very important. If we have an aggressive opponent rushing forward at us, we want to be able to back away as fast as we can while keeping our guard up. So for the next minute, we're going to start slow. We can back away. Then we can start adding some speed. Let's go ahead and put that timer on for 1 minute.
The timer's on for 1 minute. Let's work on moving backwards by pushing off of our lead foot and stepping our rear foot back, then sliding our lead foot back. As you get more comfortable, try to move back as fast as you can while maintaining the same stance. Imagine backing away to create distance from an aggressive opponent.
Time. Let's take a little break. The next drill, we're going to work on darting backwards. So it's the same thing as darting forward, except now we're pushing off our lead foot, stepping our rear foot back, and exploding back. When would we do this? We would do this very often when our opponent is trying to swing, say, a big left hook. The left hook's coming towards my face. I'm going to step back and dodge. Maybe after I throw a low kick and they throw that left hook, I got to step back. I got to dart back to get out of the way. We're working those fast twitch muscles. We're pushing off our lead foot, exploding back. Being as explosive as we can. Let's go ahead and play around with this for the next minute.
The timer's on for 1 minute. Let's explode backwards with one big step. Imagine stepping out of the way of a big punch.
Time. Let's take a break. In the next drill, in the next minute, we're going to work on back stepping. So this is what back stepping is. We're taking a step backwards as if we're walking backwards. When I back step, look, I step into the opposite stance and look, I'm sideways. Then as I take another step back, I'm back here. So again, I'm always staying sideways. So we can step off to the side. 1, 2, and 3. When would we do this back stepping? Well, it helps us run away faster. So say we have an aggressive opponent moving forward at us. We're too slow, so we start back stepping. We can also use this when we're using head movement. So if our opponent punches us, we can slip, slip, slip. Maybe after we throw our left kick, we want to naturally bounce back into the opposite stance. So we're back stepping. We can even do this as a counter. Say our opponent moves forward at us. We can back step as we throw that hook. So there's many, many other methods that we can use back stepping for. So all we're going to do is start from one side of the room. We're going to take a step back, then back to the opposite stance as I drop my hand. Back step, back step, back step, back step, back step, back step. Let's go ahead and play around with this for 1 minute.
The timer's on for 1 minute. Let's work on back stepping. We can imagine backing up to close more distance. We can add in head movement. Maybe it's after we throw our lead kick, or maybe we are trying to counter.
Time. Let's take a little break. Now we're going to work on moving side to side. So if I want to move to my left, I'm going to simply push off my rear foot, step my lead foot to the side, and drag. Step and drag. Step and drag. Now if I want to move to my right, same thing. Push off my lead foot, step to the right, and drag. Step and drag. Step and drag. Step and drag. Now of course, that's very easy. We want to be able to do this fast. So when we do this fast, we're usually circling. So if I have my opponent in front of me, I'm going to step and drag, step and drag, step and drag, step and drag. So that's going to my left. So again, say I'm up against a ring, I'm in the corner, I have an opponent in front of me, I don't want my back against the wall, so I got to circle out. So I'm going to push up my rear foot, step off to the side, then I'm going to drag, then as soon as my right foot hits the ground, I'm going to take another step and drag, and drag, and drag. And I'm going to circle. If I want to go to the other side, push off my lead foot, step my rear foot to the side, and drag. Step and drag. Very, very important footwork to be able to circle out. When we're circling, we really want to hear the scrape of our foot on the mat. We want to hear that slide. We don't want to lift our leg up too high. We want to slide and drag. We want to feel like we're part of the ground. So let's go ahead and put this timer for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on circling out. Imagine we are backed up against the ropes or the cage and we need to circle out of the corner.
Time. Let's take a little break. This next drill, we're going to be working on shuffling. So, looking here. First, I want to shift my weight to my lead foot. I'm pivoting my rear foot. Now, I want to replace my lead foot with my rear foot as my lead foot takes a step forward. I also want to shift my weight to my back leg. So, right now, all my weight shifted on my front leg. As I shuffle, my weight is going to transfer to my back leg. So look, my right back leg is bent and all the weight is here. This leg's straight. Then I'll shuffle back. This is a great way to close the distance with our left hook. So we load up our left side. Then we shuffle. Into the hook. All that weight's on the back leg. Then we want to shuffle back and forward. So again, this is a great way to close the distance with that hook. We're here, load up and shuffle. Sometimes we want to switch our stances, so let's work on both sides. We're in southpaw. I'm going to load up to my right and shuffle. For the next minute, let's go ahead and shuffle from side to side.
The timer's on for 1 minute. Let's work on our shuffle. Imagine closing the distance with that big gazelle hook.
Time. Let's take a little break. Next drill, we're going to work on our big stick quarter turn. So if the camera's right in front of me, I'm going to take a step to the side, 45 degrees to the side, and now I'm going to pivot as I slide my right foot on the mat and turn. So again, now I'm facing this side of the wall. At the end, I want to face this side of the wall. So I'm going to step off to the side and pivot. And again, step and pivot. We want to imagine we have a bull, or our opponent is running directly ahead of us. So we got to step off to the side first to get out of the way, then quarter turn. And now we have an angle on our opponent. Again, all we're going to do is step, slide. Step and slide. Step and slide. Step and slide. Let's put the timer on for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on our basic quarter turn. Imagine your aggressive opponent is moving forward at you. So we take a step to the side, quarter turn to create an angle, and strike.
Time, let's take a break. This next drill is going to be the same thing, except it's going to be in a more advanced variation of the quarter turn. I call it the double step quarter turn. So my opponent's in front of me. If I take a small step and quarter turn, well, he's right here. He can still hit me. So this is a more advanced variation. Our opponent's in front of us. We're going to slide our foot forward. This is our first step. And now because I slid my rear foot forward, I can take a bigger step off to the side. So I'm going to push off this foot, take a big step, and quarter turn. Now my opponent can't reach me. The camera is my opponent. If I take one small step, boom, I'm going to get hit. Instead, I want to slide my rear foot forward, push off this foot, and take a big step. Now I got that big angle. Quarter turn, small step, not so good. Now I want to slide my foot forward, push off of it, and take a big step and turn. This is a great way to strike and use head movement. Or strike and just exit out. Let's put the timer on for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on our double step quarter turn. This is used to create a bigger angle. Imagine we just finished punching. Now we want to exit out to avoid the counter punch.
Time. Let's take a little break. This next one, we're going to combine our shuffle and quarter turn. So, our opponent is in front of us, the camera. If we take one step and turn, that's our quarter turn. Now, we want to step and shuffle. So our right leg is going to replace our left leg as our left leg steps off to the side. So this is a great way to load up that right kick. We're going to step and shuffle. And now we can kick. So from behind here, I'm going to step, right leg is going to replace left leg, and shuffle. We're going to step, right leg is going to slide on the ground, and as soon as it hits the ground, the left leg is going to step forward. Again, this is a great way to load up that kick. So here we are. Oh. Step, shuffle, and fire that roundhouse kick. Let's go ahead and play around with it for the next minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on our quarter turn and shuffle. Imagine creating that big angle to fire our rear body kick.
Time. Let's take a little break. This next minute, we're going to work on our L step. So when will we use the L step? Say we're backed up against the cage, ring, wall, whatever it is. We're in our stance. Our opponent's coming forward at us. Look, we're going to create like a split, like a lunge. So I'm going to bend if I want to choose to go to the right side, I'm going to bend my right leg, straighten my left leg. And look, I extend my arm to keep my opponent away. So this is a great way to explosively cut the angle and circle out. Split, and I'm going to circle. We can also do the other side. And circle. We're going to split and circle out. Split and circle. Split and circle. Split and circle. Let's go ahead and put the timer on for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on our L step. We want to suddenly explode out to circle out away from our opponent, anytime our opponent is right in front of us.
Time. Let's take a break. The next drill, we call it shifting. We see all the highest level of UFC fighters doing it now, and this is a great way to close the distance. So if I want to move forward, I can step and drag, or I can step and drag fast. But what beats both of them is step, then slide our rear foot forward into the opposite stance. That's called shifting, when we step into the opposite stance. Almost like we're walking. So is this faster? Or walking forward? Now, by the books, as a beginner, we're taught to never walk. But if you know the rules, you can break them. So we see guys like Peter Yan, they'll throw that jab cross, and our opponent backs away, so they slide their rear foot forward and into more strikes. Step forward, slide, and continue moving forward. Step forward, slide, step forward. Forward, shift, forward, shift. So we're going to get used to moving forward, but also dragging our foot forward. We're going to move forward, then shift our foot to the opposite stance, and continue moving forward. During this whole time, our hand should be up, guard should be up. Let's go ahead and put the timer on for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on our shifting footwork. Imagine we are punching and our opponent backs away. We want to shift into the opposite stance to close more distance and strike.
Time. Let's take a little break. This next drill is also used to close the distance, but also to trick your opponent at the same time. So looking here, this is used by Jorge Masvidal, Tyron Woodley. So right here, I'm standing in front of my opponent. He's far away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my lead knee up and kick it back. So now I'm in the opposite stance. So this is a trick. My opponent thinks I'm going to throw something with my left leg, but instead I'm going to push out my rear foot, or my right foot at this moment, and I'm going to step back in the orthodox stance as I strike. See, that closes a lot of distance. I'm going to lift and fake, then close the distance. With a punch, with a cross, overhand, doesn't matter. Lift, and we're in the opposite stance. Then we're going to push off this foot and step far as we strike. Great way to close the distance. Imagine our opponent's trying to kick us. We can also step back to dodge, then back in with our punches. Step back and back in. Or we can do the drop shift where we lift the leg up and back in. So all we're gonna do is work on that leap forward, but we're gonna step our left leg back first. So up and back and forward. Up, back, forward. Up, back, forward. Let's go ahead and put the timer on for a minute.
The timer's on for 1 minute. Let's work on our drop shift, stepping our lead leg back into the opposite stance, then exploding forward back into our regular stance. Imagine tricking your opponent, then closing a lot of distance with a punch.
Time. In this next drill, in this next minute, we're gonna work on what I call the double step. And this is more specifically referred to when we're chopping the legs. So when we throw our low kick, we wanna step our rear foot forward first, shifting our weight to our back leg. Then we're gonna step off to the side as we chop. Now, where the footwork comes into play is sometimes we wanna close the distance, sometimes we wanna create distance, and sometimes we want to back weight. So if we're gonna pick one side of the wall, and my opponent is standing way out there, if I just take one big step here, I'm gonna miss. So I'm gonna take a step forward first, followed by another step, then chop that leg. Again, step, leap forward, and close that distance. Step, and close the distance. See how I can go from one side of the wall to the other. Boom. Boom. So that's for closing the distance. Now say we want to create distance. Say my opponent is against a wall right over here. I step, he's in front of me, so he's too close. So I got to step off to the side to chop. So now we're working on our ability to create distance. We're going to step, and instead of closing distance and going forward, we're going to step off to the side. Boom, and chopping. Again, step, now off to the side, and chop. Step off to the side, and chop. And finally, we're going to work on going backwards. So say my opponent is moving forward at me. I can now step back, then into my second step, and then chopping that leg. He's moving forward. I might back up first. Then I can take a step, one step. Now two step, and chop that leg. Step, and chop. Step, and chop. We're gonna work on that double step, going forward, creating distance, or backing up. Let's put the timer on for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on our double step low kick. Let's practice closing the distance, creating distance, or stepping backwards.
And time. Let's take a little break. This last minute is going to be hard. So far we've been doing technical drilling. This last drill, this last minute is going to be all speed and power. We're going to work on developing those fast twitch muscles, working on building those calves so that we can explode forward, explode backwards, side to side, and so on. So this minute is going to be divided into 4 parts, 15 seconds each. The first drill is going to be the X's. So we're going to jump our feet together, then split. So We got our legs wide apart. We're gonna jump together, then back, and forth and back, and forth and back. And so on, as fast as we can. So once 15 seconds hit, I'm gonna let you know, and we're gonna switch the drill. The next drill, we're gonna stand sideways, and we're gonna bring our legs together, then open them again. Bring them together, open them again. Again, as fast as we can. Our calves are going to burn, but that's okay. It's our last minute. Then when 15 seconds are up, we're gonna switch to our third drill. We're gonna get nice and low, like we're playing football. We're gonna go on the balls of our feet, and we're gonna as fast as we can. Our legs are gonna burn. And then when 15 seconds are up, we got our last drill. We're gonna switch our stance back and forth. So when I switch my stance, I'm switching into the pivoted position. Look, my heel is pointing at my target. I'm also whipping my hand down as if I'm about to kick. Then I'm gonna switch again. So look, my lead foot is now pointing my target. Right hand is down. Then switch, 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 switch. This is gonna help us switch our stance, fake our opponent out, and kick them. So. Again, we're staying on the balls of our feet. Let's go ahead and put that timer on for 1 minute.
The timer is on for 1 minute. Let's work on our first X drill as fast as we can. Let's really burn those calves. And time. Let's switch to the second X drill. Let's push the cardio. Feel the burn. Time. Third drill. Let's get into our wide squat position and tap our feet as fast as we can. Burn those quads and calves. And time. Last 15 seconds. Let's switch our stance back and forth as fast as we can. Finish strong.